Hey guys, welcome back to Background Noise Besties. I'm Kendall and this is my best friend.
I'm Natalie.
And today this is a little chaotic. Today we'll be forming and reading / reacting to our own fan fictions. Hence where we are today. We have graciously been invited to Forks, Washington by the Cullen crew. That's why we're here.
Yeah, and it's going to be a little chaotic, and the reason we chose these is because we're focusing on fanfics today. And if you don't know what a fanfic is, it is a fan fiction which fans of a certain piece or a certain band or a certain person write a story involving those characters.
Yes.
And these fanfics can have like anything in them. They can be crossovers if they wanted to. Like it can literally just be anything in any sort of world, you know.
And will there be crossovers today?
There will indeed.
So also, I thought we could start out by both saying what our journey with fan fiction so far has been.
Oh, in what way?
I'll start in how I think of it. So I think the very first fan fiction I ever read was it was a Hunger Games fan fiction. And I can't remember the name of it. I'll tell you in case you want to go look it up. It's called Reasons I Hate Mondays or Reasons to Hate Mondays, which I read it again within the last 2 years because, just wanted to relive it. Horrible. Right. So if you do go read it, don't expect anything amazing. But it was Katniss and Peeta, obviously.
Right.
Who else are you going to put it with, Gail?
Main characters.
Not the war channel.
Not correct.
But it was like real world AU. So it was like our world today. And Gail was Peeta owned a bakery, obviously. And Katniss worked there at the bakery for him, and she had this obsession with cheese buns. It was this whole thing, but he was really dating someone else at the time. But the attraction just couldn't keep them apart, and so can't remember who he was dating. But eventually, they get together. All that, break up like 700 times and get back together again.
Fanfic would have, if you don't have the drama, the angst, the not knowing will they, won't they,
if they get together once and then just stay together.
No, I get so bored. I get so bored. I need the drama. I need everything. I need for them to be fighting, for them to be heartbroken and get back together.
Yes.
So
I agree. After that, it was mainly I never read any Percy Jackson fan fictions, which is surprising for me.
That's very but you had the book.
I was a Percy Jackson kid. I've read the series several times. But after that was exclusively, I would say, 5 Seconds of Summer fan fictions, probably mostly Luke Hemmings, and sometimes there was some Ashton Irwin in there. But there was this one. Let me know if anyone else has read this because this was amazing. It was called, I can't remember what it was called. It was turned into an actual book, but I can't remember.
Not them doing After, but with 5 Seconds of Summer. Oh my god.
Luke was really depressed.
I was gonna say, let me say this real quick. If you don't know what After is, it started as a Harry Styles fan fiction, and it changed into them wanting to publish the book, but they had to change the name of Harry Styles, and his name was Hardin Scott afterward. And then now, after it was published as a book, it became a movie franchise. There were 3 movies made, and we watched every single one of those.
After, please sponsor us.
Please.
It was Luke refused to talk. He refused to talk because he was depressed, and well, not me. I was gonna say but the person in the story got him to talk through the power of love. Yeah.
Wow. Incredible.
It's actually pretty well written. If anyone knows the name of that one, let me know so I can go
reread it. I mean, it sounds good, to be honest. Oh my god, he's gonna start talking.
And then I did read some Lashton fics.
Right. I mean, come on.
That was the only couple that made sense. I mean,
For
come on.
real. So for my experience, I started like I was a directioner, you know, and this started in like
Wow, we had no idea.
this started in like 8th grade. So from 8th grade all throughout like high school, I would read One Direction fanfic. And I was like a Larry fan too. So it's like I wasn't one of those Larry fans where I was like, oh my God, like secret agenda, they're actually gay or whatever. I thought they would be the only couple that makes sense, just like Lashton, you know, but I wasn't like one to harass them and be like, come out, or like trying to out them. We don't do that. But anyway, so one of my favorite fanfics, I can't remember what the first one was because it's like I would have to go back to middle school and try and dig that out, and I'm not about to do that. But one of the first one, or no, one of my favorites was a Larry Stylinson. That was their like, it was Louis Tomlinson and Harry Styles shipped together. And one of my favorite fanfics I ever read, and I reread it like 2 or 3 times, and it was called Confessions of a Gay Disney Prince.
I knew you
And
were gonna
this,
say that.
I've told you that before. And it's also an AU, it's alternate universe. And this was where Harry Styles, well, Louis Tomlinson worked as a cast member at Disney, and he was Peter Pan. And if you know anything about them, you know this makes sense for him to be Peter Pan. But anyway, and then Harry was just kind of there. I don't remember like how he got there. It's been a while.
He worked at one of the little concessions, remember? You told me that.
He did. He worked at one of the concessions, and then they started hanging out together. And it's beautiful, and it's so cute. That was one of my favorites, and like I said, I reread it multiple times. It was so good. And then like that was mostly what I would read. Apart from like Larry, I would read like Harry Styles, like Niall Horan, Liam. I would go back and forth.
So last year when I was living with Natalie, we did go on like a 3-day fan fiction spree. Who were you reading about then? Because it wasn't One Direction.
It was Bucky. It was Bucky Barnes.
Bucky
Barnes. That was the new one, because back in high school, like One Direction were my life. So even though I loved Marvel, like it never occurred to me to look up like Marvel fan fiction. And I don't think it was as big as it is now in terms of like fan fiction, but maybe I'm wrong. Because recently, like people, I don't know if you're like into if you like Marvel and you're on TikTok, like I'm sure you've seen all the edits from when Falcon and Winter Soldier was out.
Listen, I just think fan fiction is better when it's like a person from a band or something, because then you can just imagine whatever. You don't have to have any like incorporate any of the background from like
right,
like characters in movies that you've seen,
right?
Unless you're doing an AU.
That's true.
I don't know, because then I know nothing about Luke Hemmings personally, but I can pretend like I do now.
It's like you can put him in any situation and it won't be kind of weird, because you only see him like as a normal person who just happens to be in a band. Whereas if you think, oh, Bucky Barnes, like you do think the Avengers, and you think, oh, he's like a hero and he's got to do his fighting stuff, and that has to be like included.
And for those of you who have never been introduced to the topic of fan fiction or read some, I have prepared a short fan fiction of what the typical writing back then, I would say, encompassed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just do a little reading.
Okay.
And you can stop me at any time, Natalie, if you have something to add.
Okay.
Amber Jade was not your typical 17-year-old high schooler. She wasn't obsessed with silly boy bands and didn't have tons of friends. She listened to real music, like My Chemical Romance and Sleeping with Sirens, and sat alone at lunch with the purple streaks in her blonde, messy bun, ripped black ripped skinny jeans, all black Vans, and ever rotating stash of band tees. She was a loner at her school. She didn't need anyone, and she liked it that way. Griffin was the school's golden boy, with his curly, messy, light brown hair and his deep cobalt eyes. He could have any girl he wanted, and was captain of every sport. In no way would he notice someone like Amber Jade. They just didn't run in the same circle. Amber Jade was sulkily walking down the halls of school on the way to history when she suddenly tripped and all her books went flying out of her black nail painted hands. Her iPod, full of 21 Pilots, Blink-182, and Green Day, skidded across the hall. She groaned and stooped down to pick up the mess. Her hand brushed against someone else's who was reaching for the same book. She looked up and was faced with no other than the deep cobalt eyes that could only belong to the golden boy, Griffin.
Listen, I'm going to edit that and say, I kind of hate that you didn't say orbs.
Oh, sorry.
Cobalt orbs staring back at her.
I don't need your help, Amber grimaced. Also, one thing to note about fanfiction, they will never just say said.
No.
They'll say grimaced or any other word.
Any synonyms to describe how they say it, that's what they'll say. They won't say said. Whereas like big time authors are like, he said, she said.
Exactly. I don't need your help, Amber grimaced. I'm happy to give it, smirked Griffin. He went to reach for her precious iPod. She panicked. It was her lifeline. Give it to me, growled Amber, and she snatched the iPod from his hands. I was just trying to help, spoke Griffin, his eyes darkening. Whatever, Amber Jade muttered, and she scurried away to history, her earphones shoved in her ears, blaring, sleeping with sirens, and eyes glued to the floor. It had been a week since the heated exchange in the school hallway, and Griffin just couldn't get Amber Jade out of his head. Her cherry red lips and sparkling emerald eyes were there whenever he closed his eyes. He needed to get close to her again. He didn't care if she was a loner or that her music taste was dark. Meanwhile, Amber Jade couldn't stop dreaming about Griffin, his stupid smirk, and the softness of his hand as it touched hers. And the softness of his hand as it touched hers with its black nail polish. And no way could someone like polo-wearing Griffin want loner girl Amber Jade with her Doc Martens and flannel shirts. There was no need to try. But once they crossed paths again in the hallway, Griffin couldn't help himself. He grabbed her and smashed his lips into her cherry red ones.
Honestly, incredible. That is exactly what those fanfics were back in the day.
Yep.
Like now, I feel like the ones that we've read recently, like it just doesn't hit the same because the ones that we read back then, like that was the peak of like fan fiction writing, and that was when a lot of people like really dedicated themselves to something. So like this one, sure, you could have readers, and like Wattpad like gave you the ability to like comment and stuff, but like you weren't doing it for clout. You weren't doing it to like post it on TikTok and be like, oh, I wrote a book, blah 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 blah, something like that, you know? No, it was just because you loved this person so much that you were like, I want to pretend like I'm in a relationship with them and let everybody else enjoy it just as well.
Like back then they'd be like, oh, thank you so much for like 5 reads. So it's like they did not care.
For real, they did not care who was reading it. They were like, oh, thank you for following along, you know? And those were the best ones. So
exactly. Yep. No matter what genre of fan fiction it is, or characters, whatever, even how bad the writing is, something about fan fiction is just so addicting.
So I opened Frantic Fanfic. Let me start. And then I'm gonna create a game. Missing history.
What character did you pick?
So you add them on there.
I know, but like what avatar?
Oh, I did the little possum.
Me too.
I thought you would too. It's so cute. It's so
Scrambles?
Cute. Yes, Scrambles.
I picked Scrambles too. Wow, our minds. And
literally.
I thought it was a giant rat and not realize it was a possum.
So do you want me to click both of them and have it be basic and spicy, and then just whatever it gives us is whatever it gives
that's
us?
fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that.
Give me the code.
I'm going.
Oh wow, you get the crown on your box.
I get the crown. All right. How do I start this? Oh no. I don't want to kick you off.
I'll just leave the game.
Oh, click the book, The Sacred Tome of Fanfic. Oh, it's all the way at the bottom. I didn't
Because they
realize.
think we have that many friends.
5
5? Oh my god.
5 potential fanfic characters. I know exactly who I'm doing.
Oh, wait, you're doing real people?
Yes.
Oh, I was just making people up. Okay. I know who yours are.
Who are mine?
One Direction.
Well, that's an easy way to get 4. Although I could always do
5 if you count Zayn.
I was gonna say I could always do Zayn Malik, but I don't know about that one. I'm not gonna go for those easy ones though, but I did use Harry Styles. I'm gonna spoil that for you. I did use that as a potential character.
Well, then I'm gonna use my favorite 5 Second Summer person.
Do that.
I did after the most. It's gonna be such a mixed match of people.
I've got like not even related to each other people, so this is perfect.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I kind of hope it chooses this one. Okay, I submitted my characters.
I hope they choose my 5th one.
Oh, and also
I give you the option. You get to pick from mine. I pick from you.
Oh god.
Fucking raccoon. And I can tell you who I picked. For those listening, let me tell you Natalie's 5 options. Harry Styles, Guy Fieri, Edward Cullen, Rocket the Raccoon from Marvel,
Guardian
Cabell.
Yep.
Cabell.
And Camila Cabello.
Her little
So
yes.
These are the ones that Kendall chose. She did Your Name, Luke Hemmings, Percy Jackson, Shane Dawson, and Remy the Rat. So I guess we can see which one I'm choosing in a bit.
I got mine picked.
I got my pick. Oh, and I have to choose 2 characters. Whoops, I only chose 1. We'll do we'll do that. All right, set up fanfic. All right, here we go.
At the beginning of the 2nd bit. Hold on. It's not gonna start automatically, is it?
Well, it's telling me, yeah.
Oh no! Can we pause it?
No, there's no way for me to pause it. I can't.
You can't read mine.
Bestie.
Listen, I'm gonna copy and paste these things.
What is K to K? What is K to K?
Remember your prompt. Because I'm not gonna be able to type for this. Hold on. Maybe I should have done it on my phone instead.
Prompt a crime. Is this Camila? Who's K to K?
It's supposed to say Camilla was desperate. She was so desperate. I had to look at it to be able to remember what I wrote.
Sith has gel lathered spikes and
it was Camilla was desperate. She was so desperate for Guy's love with his gel lathered spikes, his neck shapes, and not to mention his wrist sweatbands.
The choices.
And then I think she yelled. I'm trying to remember.
Girl, I got 2 minutes and 30 seconds and I've written nothing.
Just remember the prompt, and I'm saying we can write it.
We'll figure it out. Well, the prompt is a crime.
You chose Percy Jackson and who? Well, it doesn't say who it is. Dang. I'm assuming it's Edward.
You'll see.
Oh my gosh. Why is my laptop is literally deleting everything I pasted. I have one sentence and I'm having to guess what the other character you picked was.
Oh, God.
Okay. It was supposed to say Camilla called out like, give us a chance. And Guy just was like, he ignored her and just kept walking the pouring rain. She's like, there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. And he turned his head and began to evaluate his. Okay, I'll read to you what I have.
Wait, I don't even get to see what you put.
But I have. There stood Harry Styles in a kid in costume, flipping burgers and flashing his dimples.
And that's so funny because you didn't even. Oh wait, that's hilarious. I'm so excited for us to read this. All right, we got 5 minutes. I have no idea what, well, you just told me, but water the plants is my prompt, so I'm gonna do that. And it didn't tell you who I did it with?
Like, no, you didn't, because you didn't say who it was. Wait, it may have, and I missed
it. Because mine tells me who it was, so. All right.
Yours is so funny because yours is about stabbing him, but the prompt is gunshot wound. Oh, you're so
close. Well, it could always change from that, so.
I put some suspense into mine. This one is much more, like, you can read it better.
Okay, good. You frantic a fanfic. If we play dead, maybe they'll ignore us.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh, that was stressful.
Oh, and now we got to title the. Wait, do we get to read this?
Are you reading yours?
Do what?
Are you reading your characters?
Yeah.
Who is your character besides Harry?
This one, bestie. This isn't Harry.
I didn't know who was. I made it up.
It's so funny that you didn't even know who the other person was. You didn't even know who the main character was.
I guess I didn't know I could look.
Well, it said it like right at the top, and even before the round started, it was like toward the top.
My bad. No, it didn't give me yours. It just gave me Camilla and.
Oh, interesting.
I'm having to like pull memories out of my brain.
The way yours was so unreadable. You're like, what did I type?
It's funny that we both did flame engraved though. Because I said flame engraved convertible.
Well, I didn't know you wrote that.
It's so like unreadable. I'm having to.
And you're like, pause it. I can't pause it.
Okay. All right. I'm submitting it. Mine is called Tormented Lovers.
Ooh.
Water from the gods.
Water from the gods.
I can read yours. Okay. Oh, Remy the Rat! I need to make an appearance at the restaurant on the floor. He's like controlling Harry.
For this first one, I titled it Water from the Gods. And this is a Percy Jackson x Remy the Rat.
Guest starring Harry Styles.
Because Kendall did not realize who the characters were. And she just assumed it was Harry Styles and Edward, but you assumed it was Edward, right?
No, I just have Harry Styles in here.
Oh, you just have Harry Styles. Okay. She just has Harry Styles. And it's so funny because she didn't realize what the context was. So when we put it together, it's not going to make sense.
We won't say who wrote what part, but if Harry is mentioned, it was my part. So
the only part that mentions Harry and the part that you have to read because I don't have it.
yeah, okay. We're not outing anyone else.
No, not at all. Not at all. So this is how it starts, right? It's Percy Jackson x Remy the Rat. And here it goes. It says, one day in the city of Forks, Washington, lived a boy named Percy Jackson. He was getting rather hungry and decided to try a new Italian restaurant that had just opened up. He had heard a lot of good things, not only about the food, but about the chef himself. He was curious to see who the chef was and why he had garnered so much attention recently. As he walked into the restaurant, his life would forever be changed.
I gotta get it together.
Okay. You see now why it's not gonna make any sense.
I already knew. Okay. There stood Harry Styles in a kitten costume, flipping burgers and flashing his cheeky dimples. But little did Percy know that the reason Harry's food was world renowned was not because he did it wearing various furry costumes, but was because Remy was controlling him. That rat prepared meal was the best food Percy ever had.
And then it goes, the last thing Percy wanted to do was housework. But he figured helping Remy out would be the least he could do after eating the delicious meal. He was asked to water the plants, and it seemed easy enough given his powers the gods had left with him. This was the only thing they were good for within the modern world. Remy didn't seem to mind. In fact, it made him a little more excited, and he could feel a heat between his legs and his little fur rise. Percy was unaware of what was going through Remy's mind, but that didn't stop him from trying his best to please him.
The heat between his little furry legs. Oh my God. See about a literally pound Remy the rat. No.
And then I thought it was so funny.
This fanfiction has furries and bestiality. This one is called Tormented Lovers, and it's starring Guy Fieri and Camila Cabello. Okay. I'll start. Okay. Camilla was desperate. She was so desperate. Camilla just had to have Guy Fieri with his gel lathered spikes and his neck shades, and not to mention his wrist sweatbands. Just give us a chance, screamed Camilla. But Guy wouldn't even look at her. He just kept walking toward his flame-engraved convertible in the pouring rain. I'd do anything for you, Guy, yelled Camilla. This turned Guy's head, and he began to reconsider.
And then next it goes, Camilla loved Guy, and her desperation for him would lead her to do the unthinkable. If she couldn't have him, no one else could. She got his flame engraved knife and snuck around the corner, getting as close to him as possible. In the dim glow of the street life, his life would no longer be. I didn't get to finish.
No longer be alive? No longer be a thing?
His life would no longer be. That's just how it's gonna end.
This is the last part. His flame engraved knife suddenly transformed into a gun, a flame engraved one. Okay. Camilla couldn't think. She couldn't breathe. If Sean didn't love her and Guy didn't love her, then she must be she must be unlovable. There was only one thing left to do. She turned the gun and bam! No, cried Guy. My flame engraved convertible. It's ruined. You've riddled it with gunshot wounds. If I can't have you, no one can, cackled Camilla. Not even your convertible. Okay. Camilla then did a double backflip off the parking deck. and landed on all fours like a cat and scampered away. And scampered away in the moonlight. The end.
Not her scampering away.
My stomach hurts.
Oh, mine does too. I'm so red. Bessie, I can't. Not her jumping off the parking deck.
Like, she did a double back.
When were they on a parking deck? I thought they were just in the middle of the street.
Where was he gonna park? Convertible, just on the side of the road.
I thought it was just gonna be on the side of the road, I thought they were like outside somewhere. Oh, that's why I said in the like street lights.
All right, guys, let us know which of those stories you liked more in the comments in YouTube, or you can email us. Just let us know.
Yes, let us know. You know what? We can even add a poll on Spotify. We can have a poll on Spotify. And I don't know if I do something like that on YouTube, but if not, just comment which one you liked. Oh my God, that was so much. All right, so the characters that I had to choose from are Geico Gecko, the Caesar from Little Caesars, Jeff Goldblum, Patrick's Rock, and Miss Trunchbull.
And then the characters Natalie gave me to choose from are Charlie Swan, Chester Cheetah, Scrub Daddy, the actual little scrubber.
The sponge itself.
Yeah. Tony Stark, and Shawn Mendes.
So now we're gonna set up our fanfics and we'll be back with all the stories.
All right, guys. So we're gonna be moving into our second fan fiction.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is titled Hearts on the Line, starring Chester Cheetah from the Cheetos and Tony Stark. Okay, I will start.
All right.
Just eat me, begged Chester Cheetah. Just do it. I will not, proclaimed Tony Stark. I don't even like the taste of Cheetos. I taste like the puffs, not the crunchy ones. I know you love those, argued Chester. That's besides the point, sobbed Tony. I refuse to eat the creature I love, even if this stupid Death Island's rules state one of us must. Who would have thought we'd find true love on Death Island, said Chester. But if one of us doesn't eat the other, then neither of us will live. I know, groaned Tony, but I can't bear the thought of life without you. Me either, my love, soothed Chester, but it must happen. You are strong and you can survive without me. I'll always live on in your heart. But just as Tony was about to give in to Chester's wishes, a voice shouted,
Eat me instead. It was the cat from the Cats versus Dogs movie. I can't bear the way you both love each other like that. I had hoped Dog would fall in love with me, but it turns out we can only be enemies. We never made up after everything that happened between us, even though I tried to change. I can't let you both lose something so special. Chester and Tony stared in disbelief. They weren't sure if it was the island getting to them or if this was really happening. I know it may seem far-fetched, but I don't want to be here anymore. Eat me and you both get to live, the cat reiterated. Okay, replied Tony, but on one condition. Now it was Chester's turn to be shocked. What condition? Replied the cat. Tony looked over at Chester and turned back to the cat. If I eat you and relieve you of this world, Dog deserves to know what you did tonight. Let me tell him and I'll happily do it. The cat nodded. He couldn't deny himself this opportunity. Tony dived in and ate the cat. Man, that was the best pussy I've ever had, he chuckled. Chester cried.
My God. Well, I can go ahead and ruin this for you. You're never gonna figure out what Cat did because I did not know that. So plot hole because we're never gonna know. Also, now you're trying to go from enemies to lovers back to enemies.
Yes.
Okay. Chester and Tony thought they were safe. At last, they had defeated Death Island and could now go pursue their lives together, with their first order of business being adopting a cat together to honor their savior, Cat. But suddenly, Kung Fu Panda sprang out of the woods and karate chopped Chester in the back, shoving his face in the sand. Neither of you are leaving this island alive, proclaimed Panda. I will be the winner of Death Island, and I will get to live in the winter sanctuary forever. Not if I have anything to do with it, shouted Tony as he kicked Panda in the back of the head. They began wrestling. They began wrestling in the ocean as Chester sobbed for the two to break it up. Amidst all the chaos, Tony stopped struggling in the water as his pulse had stopped, and Panda had successfully drowned him. As soon as Chester noticed this, he stopped sobbing and smirked. Finally, gasped Chester, I can stop pretending to be in love with that fool, and you, my Panda love, and I can live in the sanctuary together forever. The
Well, okay. That was something.
Any final thoughts?
I mean, definitely a shocker. I never would have imagined the panda coming out, you know?
Yeah.
All right, so
Chester's a real two-timer. Jeez.
For real. And he was crying.
The fake songs.
For real. My
Listen, his strategy had a lot counting on Cat's compassion. So I guess he evaluated Cat's character pretty well.
I guess so. He did his research ahead of time. Listen, he knew what he was doing. All right. So the second one is titled They Break Up at the End, and it's Geico Gecko x Jeff Goldblum. All right, so it says, Geico Gecko took his soon-to-be hookup to a fancy restaurant. He wanted to make sure they were well taken care of beforehand. The host sat them down and his waiter arrived to take their drinks. When Geico Gecko looked up, he didn't realize the most beautiful pair of eyes would be looking right back at him. All of a sudden, he had wished he never let this hookup come along. Is there anything I can get you to drink? Said the waiter. I'll have a big tall drink of you, thought the gecko. His hookup looked visibly disgusted. Did I say that out loud? Said the gecko. The waiter turned a bright shade of pink. The gecko looked at the waiter. Jeff is what his name tag had said.
After an awkward 2-hour dinner, the Geico ditched his raggedy hookup and went in search of that devilishly handsome waiter named Jeff. The Geico found Jeff behind the restaurant sobbing while sifting through the dumpster Jeff was squatted in. What's wrong, gorgeous? Questioned the gecko as he rushed to Jeff's side. Why are you sitting that tight butt in this gross dumpster? Through his tears. Wait, I just thought about it. The gecko's like this small. Anyways, through his tears, Jeff proclaimed with a quivering lip, dumpster diving helps cheer me up when I think about that time I accidentally walked in on my mom shaving her coochie. She traumatized me, and the only way I can soothe myself is through dumpster diving. Let me join you, said the gecko. I'll help you forget all about your mom's coochie. And the gecko clumsily threw himself into the dumpster, as this was his first time in a dumpster, and into Jeff's arms.
After a bit of romantic dumpster diving, the pair decided to hop out of the dumpster and take a walk. You know, I've never dumpster dived with anyone else before, said Jeff. I've never found the right person to do it with. Geico Gecko was shocked. He felt honored, but didn't know quite how to take this. Was Jeff happy that they did that together? What if he found out about his gift and later decided he regretted dumpster diving with him? He decided to just come clean about it. You know, I'm gifted. I wanted to let you know in case you decide it's too crazy and you never want to dumpster dive with me again. I'm gifted. I have a gift. I'm quirky. I'm a quirko. Have you ever seen me wear any sort of clothes? That's quirky. Everyone else has left me because eventually they get sick of my quirky self and they can't take me anywhere. My skin eventually peels off and it becomes just another quirky thing to be scared of. I know quirkiness isn't for everyone, but I like you too much to not tell you. The gecko started to cry. Jeff was understanding of this. I love that I said that. Listen to the ending. Jeff was understanding of this. I'm glad you told me ahead of time. I'm sorry, but I can't be with someone as gifted as you. It'll make me feel like I'm not worthy. I'm sorry, you won't see me anymore. And there stood the gecko alone and sobbing.
I forgot that what they break up at the end.
And I'm just dying because I forgot I wrote Jeff was understanding of this, and then it's like he broke up with
So he was as understanding and
they just met and they just broke up.
after Jeff shared with him his deepest, darkest secret. Is that his quirky?
It's that he's quirky. That's his gift. He said, I'm quirky. I'm a quirko.
I don't know what that entails.
And that his skin, well, you can't take him anywhere, you know? She's so quirky, can't take her anywhere. And that his skin like peels off.
That's normal for geckos.
Apparently Jeff didn't realize that, and that was he couldn't get over that, even though the Geico Gecko accepted him having seen his mom's coochie while she was shaving it. So
and dumpster diving too.
And dumpster diving. It was so romantic together, but I guess it didn't last. And you know, the Geico Gecko was like a baller. Like he got a hookup and everything and took him to a fancy restaurant. What could you expect, honestly?
Yeah. Also, I'm about to blow your mind. Did you know the Geico Gecko was British and not Australian?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Did you think
I'm not? For all you people listening out there, I'm blowing your mind. I didn't know that until about a week ago.
Unless you're like me and you also knew that the Geico Gecko was British, but okay.
Not everyone knows that, Natalie.
Well, yeah, that's true. I'm sorry. I forgot my mind is like so big.
I'm just educating the public. God.
Brain. The biggest brain out there, so I'm sorry. All right. That honestly, that's kind of a good note to end it on, you know? Like these fanfics do not always have happy endings. And that's one thing you need to know, you know? Yeah. Especially when you're I was just going to say, especially when you're like looking for some, like you need to make sure it's not an angst, hurt, sad one that you're going to hate.
Yes, listen, the worst ones are when they write half, 3/4 of the story, and then they never update again.
You're so right. They were like, or like every
where it was like they had broken up for a long time and he had moved away because he wasn't good for her, and then the chapter they left it off on and never updated again was that he returned and they saw each other in the hallway at school. Literally, that's what it is. I was like, I'm about to beat someone up.
You know,
I'm about to beat someone up.
And you can listen if anybody's listening and you are afraid of this happening to you, if you really want to read like fan fiction or something, you can always tell because the writers are going to be like, oops, sorry, I was so busy with school. It took a while for this chapter to come out. Just leave. If they say something like that, just leave. There were even some, I know you've seen them where they're like, oh, sorry, I was in a car crash and I couldn't write for like however long.
Oh, sorry, I had to get my leg amputated. I'm back.
Or it's like, I know there was one that I read one time and it's like, oops, sorry, I haven't updated in so long. I got my degree and then I just forgot about this. And I was like,
Where's your priority?
sure.
Come on.
For real, it's like, give the people what they want. You can always get your degree at a later time. We can't get this fanfic later on.
Exactly. Priorities.
Exactly. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Background Noise Besties, all about fanfics, you know, a little bit chaotic, but that's kind of who we are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to say something to the
Oh,
people.
sorry. Just make sure you like or subscribe or follow or rate our podcast. Tell your friends about it. You can always comment on YouTube or email us if you have something you want us to dissect / talk about, or if you just want to share a funny story with us, experience with us that you want us to talk about on the podcast. Oh, and comment or let us know what fan fictions you're reading or have read. Give us some recommendations so maybe we can get back
Right. You know, maybe,
into it.
right. And like we read fan fictions like a long time ago. So maybe y'all know something we don't. Maybe there's something out there that we got to discover. So please let us know if you have something like
Let
that.
us know. And thank you to all who have been listening. We really appreciate it. And please continue to listen.
Thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.